Okay, well, we're here. All right, and happy to see everybody. And well, we got the EV or the gas station thing forwarded, so that's
Yeah,
very,
I did too. That was great.
yeah. So that was kind of the first issue on our agenda, and that's done. So that's great. So moving on, Jan, you did a great job getting this information from them. So I think that's probably what we'll do today, right, Mitra, is just go through that, maybe that spreadsheet and see what we think there might be to do. What do you think? What do you think, Jan? I'll let you take over since you got that information.
Well, that seems like a good idea, although I have to say I'm less than well prepared for that.
Okay.
It took a while. I'm sorry to get it to y'all so late. It took a while to work through talking to Rob and then him passing me on to Logan and Logan getting it, blah, blah, blah. So I was really glad to get it. But I was just saying to Brian, the thing that I miss the most about working for the city of Eugene is having tech support, because I don't have the same setup here at home that I had when I was working. And so I tried to print this out so that I would have a hard copy to look at while I'm looking here at you instead of, and it came out all, separate pages, and it's not in a condition to look at very well. So
Great. Maybe I can try to share a screen that has it, right? We can
that
see.
would be super awesome. I don't even know
Let me
how to
try.
do that.
If I'm allowed here. So where is that? Here we go.
Oh yeah, see, that looks much better.
So what are you seeing now? Okay. So we're seeing that, right?
Yeah, I see it.
Am I moving it around on your screen?
Yep.
EV ready multifamily.
Let me keep doing that. Anyway, so how you been, Mitra?
Oh, good. I did a lot of research into the R99 and that was awesome. It was surprising to see that a lot of Eugene and eWeb and Lane County and LTD have already kind of adapted it.
Right, that's great. Yeah, people are on it, so that's
Yeah.
good. Well, it seems that the main issue is probably supply for the general public, right?
Yeah, I found, as far as I know, it's available in California. And I found a video online that said something about they're trying to make it available. There was like a news article or like a TV about they're trying to test it in Bend. And they were interviewing like diesel people about whether they would try it or not. And there were mixed reports back about that. But yeah, it seems to me like the big bottleneck with R99 is supply. But I feel like they're ramping up. Even in the some of the documents we've been reviewing for this committee, it seems like the market was unstable at one point, which caused some versatility in, the usage of it. But yeah, basically it does seem like a really great solution, or at least interim solution, until we get the EV infrastructure developed, because it doesn't require as much infrastructure. I mean, you don't have to buy special vehicles. You can use it in regular diesel vehicles. And, it has to be offered somewhere. So there's that. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty much the only solution for heavy duty vehicles that can tow things. Like I said, that's why I purchased a diesel vehicle myself recently, because that's really my only option, unless I have like 100 grand to blow on a brand new Tesla truck or something. But I don't even know if those are being made.
I don't think they're out yet, but
yeah. But I'd love one, mind you. But
the F-150 is coming. That'll probably maybe it'll be less expensive. I don't know.
I have a question to throw out to you two about incremental, like bootstrapping our way towards sustainability. Is how do you all feel about kind of interim solutions that will kind of baby step our way to like carbon reduction, as opposed to just really focusing on infrastructure development for a singular solution like EVs versus like working on multiple. It's kind of like the when in the other committee, like talking about different fuels like electricity and gas and creating sustainability with options like that versus just going all in on electricity.
Well, I'm not sure what your alternatives are, but so I mean, I think.
Well, I guess I sort of think we have to do both, right? We really have to, because if we don't start on the bigger solutions now, we're not going to make it.
Right.
If we divert all our energy to, baby steps, then, but we also have to have some interim measures for people to do. So I hope it's not an either or.
Yeah, me too. And that's why, like, this conversation feels relevant in this committee, just because, should we be talking about, R99 as well as EVs or just EVs? Some of the data we've been reviewing includes information on both. So
my bias, I'm not sure if this totally is, that in any situation is to try to think of what can make the most difference in our greenhouse gases in meeting our goals in the climate plan in the best amount of time. So trying to figure out what's the best progress we can make and focusing on that, because we're short. And so I don't know what the answer to that is. But that would be for me to try to figure out. And also it's within this situation, we were trying to figure out, well, what is the city already doing? And what can we do as a city advisory group to support the city to move faster towards the goals, right? So, I mean, I think, focusing on what community members can do too, but I think we have to look at where's the biggest benefit that we can achieve.
most bang for the buck. Yeah, definitely.
My bias anyway.
I think we are hitting a supply issue with respect to electric vehicles. As soon as companies announce something, it's sold out like that. And to get a Tesla now, you're back up to 9 months or so. And I saw some stories from California where now finally people are getting backed up at Tesla charging stations and things like that for an hour or more, because the infrastructure isn't there. So that's backing up. The cars aren't there, the supply chain, the whatever, all these things are. And I think the interest in the public is really ramped up. I mean, people are just waiting to get one if they've got the money, clearly. But, people have money and they're ready to go. But the vehicles aren't there and the charging. So whatever. So I hear what you're saying. That partly says that, and that's what they've been arguing about, I guess, building energy and stuff like that, that you're, you have natural gas, and okay, natural gas is, quote, the clean fuel. Yeah, well, in a way it is, if you're on your way to getting where you want to go, and it's much better than heating oil or something, so, but I don't know what happens for this. You tell me, Mitra, again, why is R99 good in terms of carbon footprint? Because I'm always thinking that, well, I'm still burning the fuel and I'm still creating carbon dioxide. So what is the deal with that? I mean,
so R99, I just wrote this all down and then I turned the page to a different page, so I have to go back and find it. But it's called renewable diesel, and it comes from so it's definitely more. Gosh, I need to find the notes on this.
While you're doing that, Art, could you page up to the next page on this spreadsheet? I'd like to see what comes next here. Okay, so.
And another thing I just want to have on our radar, and I think I've said this before, but I just, for the sake of just saying it again, is the financial inequities of considering like who can afford an EV, even despite the supply and demand and infrastructure. There is still the reality that if there's a certain, and even despite the like the incentives, there's still this focus on, and I mean that goes for a lot of things when it comes to making sustainable choices. It's more expensive. The technology isn't there. The infrastructure is not there. That's why it's more expensive. And for a while, it's going to be more of like a luxury item. But one of the reasons I really was gravitating towards R99 is because it's something that seems more approachable and affordable for certain people. Like myself, I was upgrading my vehicle and I can't afford to do as recommended to get an EV for multiple reasons. And so that seemed like a more responsible path than just buying another gasoline vehicle. So
Definitely. That's a cool thing.
Well, I think the state at least is trying to address that now by having extra, if you're lower income, you can get more of a rebate back now, which I think is good. I mean, I did feel a little bad when I got my Tesla in the center and leasing that, in the sense that, yeah, it's another giveaway to rich people. You know what I mean? The 2,500 was clearly to people that were willing to put in the money to get a Tesla, you know, and most of those people were not just barely getting by. It's a nice kickback, and it does motivate you getting the vehicle, but it's not addressing the equity issue. So I mean, I think that might be something the city could do. But again, all these things cost money. I mean, if we're thinking that they could have a ramped up kickback to people, or, you know, to buy vehicles, or somehow we could think about that. How could they help lower income people qualify or get such a vehicle?
And when I attended the meeting for the Emerald Valley Electric Vehicle Association on EVs, I know their stance is to try to get some of the older EVs that are more affordable into the hands of people. But those are just based on the technological advancement of EVs in such a short period of time. They are a lot more restricted in their range and, you know, ability to charge. I mean, it's just, we're in this very strange zone right now of technological, like we're finally bought into a lot of this, and there's a demand, but then the technology hasn't caught up with that, and the infrastructure is not all there. And so it's a very interesting time to be doing this kind of work. And I definitely understand the reality of that. I found my notes on R99. So it's made from organic waste oil and virgin oil using a hydrogeneration process. It's better performing and and has better fuel efficiency, and it significantly reduces emissions. It was used.
Why is that? Does it explain why it does that?
Because it's not, I mean, I'm sure it significantly, in some of the links that I sent a few weeks back, I think it explains that in more detail. But basically, I have a feeling it's the fact that it's using waste oil that's, you know, and so that it's not a fossil fuel, and then it's hydrogeneration process. Now, the videos I came across about the producers of R99, their process is proprietary, so they don't talk much about it. But in the thing I was just reading up on, it says hydrogeneration, which makes me, sounds like it's a, you know, less carbon emitting process to produce the oil, and then it's better performing and has better fuel efficiency. So you're basically, you know, from cradle to grave of the fuel process use and manufacturing, it's less carbon producing, it seems like. So I did find this number, which was, there were some trials done for renewable diesel in 2015 and 16 by EWEB, Lane County, City of Eugene, and LTD. And LTD hit a 54.9% reduction in carbon with the usage of R99. So if that tells you anything, that's a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
No, that's what I've seen. And I've seen it in other news stories that it's been adopted in quite a few cities and things with that same number of about 50%. And I'm going, what the heck? I'm still burning a carbon-based fuel and giving off the CO2. So I still am flabbergasted. I have to, I guess, see the science. But I hear that, you know, somehow they did it. Maybe I should get in touch with LTD and see, what does that mean? I mean, it's just out of curiosity.
Mitra, where did you get that information?
So I was just reviewing in an email that we sent that was going around where maybe it was you that shared that article about the city's use of, I was God, I can't remember. Anyway, it was an article that you sent and I responded to. It was referencing R99, and I basically sent back a whole bunch of links I found in my research on it. And
Okay.
I can resend those to you all after this meeting if you want to look at them, but it was very helpful and informative to read through those.
Oh, that would be great.
Well, it's good, but I think as we see that it seems like local agencies and places are being quite aggressive about dealing that. So I'm not sure how it would result in us recommending something to the city. In terms
What
of
our role would be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can't say try to get more R99 available for citizens in the city. I mean, we could submit that to them, but I'm not sure there's even a way of doing that, you know.
Right.
What the city's leverage is on producers or something is probably.
Well, it looked like, you know, they contract with the company that produces it for their own fleets. And the one video I came across, I think they were beta testing R99 for the public in gas stations in Bend. And so I don't know how that comes about, whether it's a private choice on those gas stations' part to choose, or if it's something that we could pressure through requesting, because these are, you know, our city and Lane County and LTD and eWeb already have a relationship with the manufacturer of R99, obviously, to get it for their fleet. If I just don't know the details of that situation, whether it's something they could say, oh, is this something we could offer at Sequential too? Or I mean, I can ask Sequential actually.
Yeah,
That would be interesting.
yeah, that's good. Well, I'm open to having you investigate it, and if you can come and find some way that we could reasonably recommend something to the city council, I'm open to hearing it. But maybe we'll leave it at that and kind of move on to this other
Sorry
part.
to take up so much time.
No,
That's okay. No, it's good. Would you do me a favor, Art, of scrolling down one more time here? I think.
Okay, but we need to go to the top and you can lead us through. So I think what we want to do is look at the EV program that the city is following, and that's what we have here that Jan sent in that Excel spreadsheet, and just see if there's some part of this that we think we might want to focus on a bit and try to develop.
Jan, I did read through all of this too, so if you want to like skip to the parts, I don't know if you did, Art, but
yeah, I did look at it as well, but I didn't kind of highlight anything yet. So maybe if either of you have some highlighted things that you thought was intriguing, why don't we go through that? I'll turn it to Jan since she provided this, and then we can just see where we are.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. It sounds like you guys have gotten more through it than I have. Like I said, I had a day full of appointments and meetings and stuff, so I didn't really get to go through in detail. So it sounds like on the first one, the EV ready multifamily and commercial buildings, things are in the works on that already. And they're needing to wait for July 1st building code changes to do more.
Right. And there is something though they could do locally, right? Is that the thing? They could push it a little further or something?
Yeah.
I see. So we can ask
could require buildings to include charging and parking, in which I don't think they can do right now. So, but they can't do that until July 1. So PDD says.
One thing we might suggest, just for practicality and given our time right now, is if we look at the status, obviously someone's taken time to brainstorm all these ideas and done the spreadsheet, and then there's the status update could be helpful, because like if you go down to number 6, this is specifically related to the retrofit of city buildings, and it says no status update. So we could maybe look into like bottlenecks, or, you know, but some of the stuff is in place and some of it, there's obviously people working on it. But that might help us focus like where we could be of benefit is if there's no status update, or, you know.
I agree. But on this first one, actually, there is the thing that we could bring to the city council's attention, which is it says that this new legislation gives to municipality by process concerning land use require that each newly constructed building described include provisions for electrical service capacity to accommodate more than 20% of the vehicle parking spaces in the garage. So that's really making sure that those places have adequate power to the thing. And it says if the city were to pursue this option, it would need to be after July 1st. But that's something
Right.
we,
I
we
think
could we could be promoting from the commission.
Right.
So this is coming up, and we believe that this should be an important part of these new developments.
I agree with that because it looks like right now there aren't any definite plans. It's just if the city were to pursue, so we could make that our, yes, we think we should pursue this.
Yes, right. So I mean, I think that
And that would cover the next one as well. It looks like he thinks.
I'll write down the numbers of the line items that we think we might be able to look at in more detail. If that's helpful.
That was number one, number two, I guess, even though.
Yeah, we got number 2 and 3.
Mhm. Okay, this is in place for number 4. There's a scheduled work item for 2022. What is that? Right-of-way charging. Yeah, so that's for e-bikes and things. That's something maybe we can talk a little bit about later on as we get later here, maybe about
Yeah,
bikes.
that's really interesting.
Archimoto or whatever, and whatever, how to
Right.
talk a little bit about that maybe. No status update on EV ready and retrofit of city buildings.
So that's I agree, Mitra, this one is one that definitely could be one of our recommendations, like, well, yeah, we should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like maybe make a little bit more of a commitment or find out what the status is on that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So
I'm always thinking of these like the city parking facility charging. Partially complete. 3-hour time limit. So what is that? Develop policies and practices to ensure efficient use of existing charging station and assess needs for installation of additional chargers and SEV chargers. I think that's an interesting thing about how this technology will evolve. When the first cars came out and they had like the 30, 40 mile ranges, people were plugging them in downtown. I mean, I never felt that, I need to go plug in my car downtown or something,
I know, and it's interesting, like I know that there was just a new charging station put in out at, is it Mount Pisgah? But there's one, and I don't think there's any time requirement on it. So I was like, that's gonna be used all the time.
So you have an EV. What's your take on this? Like, in terms of the usage of it, like, what do you see on as becoming a potential problem that we would want to think through?
Well, I think the home, helping people have home charging is very important.
Right.
And getting the charging, and then if you don't have a home, but you're in a multi-family thing, having the charging available there is very important. I mean, and that's where you go to sleep for 8 hours, or you're there for 4 hours, you can run out and move your car. That's where you want to be charging if you can, is at home.
Mm-hmm.
But that means you have to have the power available to the infrastructure.
Well, and that is one thing that the utilities do provide now, is some supplements for doing that. I have an EV too, and
great.
Yeah, we had to add electricity, in a new, actually part of a new box. We had to do more than most people do, I think, but then those things are included here. I think EWEB and Lane Electric both have, but I don't know if there's more on that, or we could have, advocate for those to be increased, because that's a cost.
Mm-hmm.
Or again, for people that's an equity potential issue.
Right.
Did we already read through the one that they want to require EV stations for low income housing? There's one in here that says there's a collaboration being worked on with St. Vincent de Paul about bringing, that was a EV ride share vehicle or something for low. I think that's a kind of interesting idea.
Should we keep working the list?
That's way down at the bottom. I don't want to go out of order. Sorry.
We're still at the city. So my take on the city park facility, I don't know what Jan's is, that the way the technology is moving, you're not going to have a car that has less than 250 to 300 miles, if not beyond that, for range, and so You're either looking at going
That
to
doesn't,
some DC
yeah.
high powered charging thing that'll get it done in 10 or 15 minutes. You're not going to go downtown and pull into the garage and, you know, with a low charging rate thing, do it really. I mean, I don't think.
well, this talks about locations for future level 3 fast charging.
Right.
So number 8, it says clean fuel credits. I'm not familiar with what that means, but the word clean fuel makes me think there could be something other than just EVs included in that.
Yeah, I didn't know what this means either. Do you know, Art? I don't know what a clean fuels credit generator is.
Yeah, I wondered what clean fuel was. You know, that's like clean coal or something, right? You know.
Okay, so this is a place, I mean, that's the other thing we can be doing as we're going through this, is noting where we have questions and need more information, because Logan said, let me know what your questions are, what if you get a chance to look at it. So I think this is one that we really need to know.
Clean fuel. I wrote that down.
Now
So
they're getting credits. I don't know who gives you the credit and what you do with
I know, we don't know.
it. Being currently,
That reminds me, Art, do you remember the transportation staff coming to a meeting in November of 2020 and talking about this?
yeah, but it wasn't in a vague kind of way. I mean, I didn't
Right.
go away surprised. And I mean, if they came and told us this table, we wouldn't necessarily go
Wouldn't
away
remember it. I know. I thought
So
that
I
was,
think this was an excellent resource. I don't know how much we'll go through it as far as we can get today, but maybe that's kind of a goal by the next meeting, is for each of us to really study this and pulled out some of these points. We can do a
Right.
little more today, I think, but you
okay.
know, I can think again, we're looking for 2 or 3, 4 things that we think that,
And recommend, yeah.
because I think the city, you know, there's a broad spectrum of thing and they're really on it. I mean, there is a commitment to doing this. What do we think should really be pushed, I guess, is kind of what we're looking.
And there was something in the note from Logan, because I asked him, I said,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, part of what we're trying to figure out is how we can be of use here.
Right.
And
Yeah,
see if I can find it again.
that still.
Anyway, meanwhile, next one would be convert city fleet vehicles to EVs,
Mhm.
which of course they're already doing
Doing to the extent they can. Oh, you guys are.
as they age out.
Mhm.
We do
and
have
again, it notes light duty because they're running into the same heavy duty problem that I
Right.
was. Yeah.
sure.
Bus, LTDs.
So they are looking, they do need help. They do need additional investment for charging of their own EVs. So that's an interesting situation.
City does?
The city does, yeah. It says here, we have a need for more strategic investment in charging locations for our growing fleet of EVs.
Right.
A
But I think
future-
they're aware of that. I don't think we need
Yeah.
to recommend that they.
Right.
Right,
No. I just
right. That's fine. Mhm.
keep up. Bus electrification, that's LTD,
They're dealing with it as best they can.
right?
Autonomous.
Autonomous vehicles.
Yeah,
I'm not even interested in pushing that myself.
well, it's kind of medium or long term, really. see
Yeah,
what's Going on
yeah.
there. So that's fine. City employee workplace charging, I think the city is aware of that. They can access chargers in several locations. So I don't think we need to talk about that. I mean, that's almost, I mean, they're on top of that. They're trying to do the best they can.
Right.
EV
Some of the
rebates.
car share, EV car share stuff and the incentivizing taxis and Ubers and stuff to be
Some of that,
EVs.
yeah, so you're ahead of this. We're getting there. We're
Oh,
getting.
sorry.
I think it's there somewhere.
Each one.
Sorry.
I see it at the bottom of the page, but we're at the top of the page.
Okay.
So EV rebates. So maybe let's see what's happening here. Work with EV manufacturers to pass through available rebates. Oh, I don't think there's a problem there. They're mainly making sure that, and eWeb is dealing with that, just to make sure people get the rebates that they qualify for. So that's,
Right.
it seems like, so that's not a problem.
And it seems like it would really be, I mean, the only thing I think we could do there would be to try to advocate at the state level for more rebates, you know, I mean, because
But they just passed something. They just did pass.
did they? Okay.
Yeah, and it does expand the rebate program. Everybody used to get 2,500, and I think now you can get up to 7,500, but it is based upon your income and other things like that. So the basic remit. So that, you know, they became aware of that. I mean, they got some lobbying on that, so that's good. That
Okay.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
did come across that in the Emerald Valley electric vehicle presentation.
Mhm.
I thought I had it written down somewhere that you could get up to 12,500 between federal, state, and
Yeah.
local rebates. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's
you're if you pay that much in taxes, of course.
right. That's great. You know,
Integrate transit.
but now there's just not the cars and the whatever.
Right.
I think people are waiting. There's a integrate transit and shared EV mobility. What's that?
Okay. Underway, small scale EV car share.
Uh-huh. I see. What do we think about car share? You were into, I mean, I don't know how that's ever worked out. I mean, it has, what is it, Zip Car and some of those?
Yeah.
My son used that, so I think it works for the college students and
Mhm.
sometimes like that. When he was at college, that was a good thing.
I don't,
I'm not-
yeah,
I don't really know how those programs work, but it seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Those zip cars, I was always curious because I was like, if you need to borrow a car, it's usually because you need to haul something around, and those little things are so tiny. It's like you
Well,
can't
yeah.
haul much in them. But
I haven't seen them around much anymore. Do you think that
No,
they're,
that's what I mean. So I don't know if they've actually didn't work out all that well or what. You know, I was kind of surprised, but
I think in theory it sounds good, but it sounds like it'd be complicated. I mean, like even if you say like you were a student, you'd have to plan ahead and know when you needed the car and arrange for it, and it just,
well, it's all online and they're used to using their app, you know, so you get on
that's
the app and you
true.
reserve the car and you have to get it. If you don't get it back in time, you pay a penalty. So, you know, they were fairly well motivated.
So maybe more of this would be like the e-scooters and stuff like that.
They were
I do think we should look at some of the policies regarding car shares and these other electronic, because again, it focuses on the lower economic
right.
accessibility of responsible transportation.
Uh-huh. Where
and
is that? Where is, so that's why I'm shared EV, LTD.
there's like there's a whole bunch of them coming up. I just
They're down
So,
below here.
so our questions around this one would be, what are the current programs and
Mhm.
what's the usage? Is this something that, yeah.
Right.
so
There's a-
car share programs, what are they and what is the usage?
Well, also, yeah, and also the e-bikes and e-scooters, it looks like they're actually, I think, focusing more on those, I know.
Yeah, but even cars, I think, is a good idea. And it's almost a natural because when you would park it in the spot, there'd be the charger there, you know, so you borrow
Right.
it, you bring it back and you put the charger
Right.
in and you
Like
go.
the bike share program, only electric,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it seems like that could be made to work. Yeah, we should find out what the history has been of Zipcar and, you know, the gas versions of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, they haven't proliferated, so it didn't seem to
No.
become a big deal somehow. I guess, how's the bike thing going? I guess.
Well, that's the next item, isn't it? Look here.
It's a Peace Health IC rides electrification. So, that's a good idea.
Does seem like a good idea.
Right. You see more and more people on electric bikes, and I think that does broaden the range of people that would use them, right?
Yeah, it does to me. I mean, I might actually try that. I haven't tried a bike yet.
All right.
There has been some intermediate work done needed on the system. Okay. Private for hire vehicle electrification, encourage taxi. Yeah, that's,
Yeah, number 16.
16, okay.
is that what that is?
Yeah, that was one that I found kind of interesting because I know people who don't have cars, you know, they engage in fossil fuel use through when they need a car, you know,
Right.
hiring a taxi or Uber or Lyft. And so electrifying that fleet would definitely
Right.
be interesting. And there's no status update on that. So
Right. So
Yeah.
that's something to look into. I mean, I clearly you'd be
Yeah.
looking at some kind of incentive, lowering their license fee or
yeah, it says
something that you would do if you had an electric vehicle. You know?
incentives or expedited permitting processes.
Right.
So I put numbers, I'm just marked that one down as something we
Right.
might want to revisit. Yeah.
I think that is a good
Okay.
one, right? Yeah. And I think the companies would go with that. I mean, again, there's a certain class of people that would choose to ride in the electric vehicle if they could, you know. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that worked for some of the local taxi companies when they first
Sure.
went to the Prius, and people said, okay, yeah, I'll do that, you know, kind of thing. So it is a motivator.
Yeah.
I think if you got a fleet of Teslas out there, people would want to ride in them just to
Oh, yeah.
know what it's like to ride in a Tesla. My son would. He's obsessed.
Hertz has bought 1 million of them or whatever, right? So I mean, you know,
Right. I
rental
think
car
that's
companies know
good
that there's a
plan.
market there. Yeah, it's a great way to try one out, you know. So on many fronts, it's a good thing to do for people to have the experience with a vehicle, either as a cab or renting.
So
Mhm.
this next one had to do with that
This.
MCO pilot
Which is-
project.
Which is this one?
Well, the
Oh,
next,
pilot EV car
there's-
share?
yeah, so do you remember when there was that little shuttle bus that was going around downtown?
Yeah, what happened with that? Right.
Well,
It just
apparently
says,
it was a pilot program that,
it says concluded, but it doesn't really have any more information there.
It
well,
crashed.
I'm kind of thinking that it wasn't used a lot, honestly, when I saw it. I don't think it ever looked like it was being used a lot, so they probably just decided that wasn't necessarily worth the effort, but I don't know.
I'll
We could-
add it to our
Yeah.
inquiry about the car share, because I have the zip
Yeah.
cars and the EM Go as potential questions. Yeah.
Yeah, what happened to it? What was the outcome?
COVID was a killer for public transport. So who's going to get on this little shuttle or the EMX even, you know? So, I mean, I don't know, that's been a problem for public. Everybody's going back and retreated to cars. Not that many people got out of them anyway, but
Brian, you popped up there for a second. Did you
Yeah,
have
what-
some information on the EM Go thing?
Yeah, MGO. This isn't
MGO.
definitive for what it's worth, but the pandemic basically just put the end to that.
Oh,
Oh,
well, yeah,
man.
So it was running, as far as I can remember, it was running up until March of 20. And then when nobody was downtown, there was just no need to continue
Yeah.
running it.
That makes sense. That's
That makes
too
sense.
bad. Yeah.
well, maybe
Yeah.
we could encourage them to do it again, you know.
Yeah, that's something to look
Just to keep
into.
after
exploring.
next surge, yeah.
I did see 3 people I knew when I was walking around downtown today. It was quite exciting.
Whoa.
Hooray.
Things are picking up.
Yeah, watch out.
Yep. Wait till
Pilot
the numbers
EV
go
car-
up again. Okay, where are we? 617?
Yeah, 18. Working on
So what was this one now?
pilot EV car share.
Uh-huh.
I have- Haven't even looked at these yet, so this is all news to me here.
The city is close to formally adopting an administrative rule to govern the scooter share. Okay.
Okay,
Should
but-
we, let's see,
I think the broader, yeah, that'd be interesting to see.
should we put that one down as something to look at?
I think so. I mean, exploring
Yeah.
electronic EV car share is a good thing. Where to, you know, where to even put the sites? Because I mean, you do have places where the cars go. So, you know, even where to put the sites, you know, that would serve neighborhoods that would need.
It says they're at the stage of making adjustments as needed from public comments. So that might be something that
Hmm.
we want to look into, you know.
So
yeah,
So some people have been into it and we've not been there. That's okay. Promote micro mobility, right?
This is the one that there's apparently something happening with St. Vincent de Paul, eWeb, and Fourth.
So this is more like the rev up or whatever kind of
well, I think
education.
it's,
people
yeah,
about the vehicles.
this one and the next one go together. That next one is the one that mentioned Saint Vinny.
Yeah,
Like these two kind of go together.
I see. So one is just educating and promoting, and then this one is actually trying to do it in a sense,
Do more partnerships, yeah.
right? And actually physically create such things.
So that makes some sense in terms of car share at like a multifamily housing site. That makes some sense.
Right.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That
Yeah.
does. That's really good. Because that's where you would want to cite it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right, that's good.
So it might be helpful to find out like what's going on with that.
Mhm.
yeah,
And that relates all the way back to the initial one with respect to making sure that developments have the available energy to do it, to charging, because that's an issue. You have to
Yeah.
have as you found out, Jan, right? You had to get more amps to your house or something.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Did you have to get more amps and stuff to your house?
I did.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're talking about with the multi-family things, is that they probably have to have
Right.
more power sent to the place. So, but that's something that could be incentivized and paid for or something. You know, so.
I do want to let you all know that I'm going to have to take off here in about 6 minutes.
Right.
Okay,
I apologize
yeah,
for
me,
that. Yeah.
me too.
Maybe we could just say that we'll meet at the same time again next month again, that the Wednesday after the meeting. Will that work? I don't know. Are we going on vacations or anything?
Yeah, we're almost through
What-
with this.
What month? Okay, what would that date be?
It would be April something. Right?
April.
The Wednesday after our meeting, the fourth one.
The 27th?
Was the, the fourth Wednesday, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, the 27th.
I think
Yeah.
that would work for me. Yeah.
Works for
Okay,
me.
well, let's have that down then. So that's April 27th. Okay. I'll send a note in the reserve.
But this is really helpful to, help us focus in our work for sure. Thank you so much for this.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. And
So where do we leave off, just so we don't have to
So
read?
you took down the numbers of items we're interested in, right?
Yeah, I've got up through number 20 is where I guess we should just
I
leave
think
off
that's
there.
I think that's where we stopped, is number 20.
Okay, so yeah, the questions, maybe we should, I'll just say that the questions that we wrote down we wanted to look into was, what is the Oregon Clean Fuels Program?
Mhm.
What is the usage? What current car share programs are happening and what was the usage of them? And maybe e-bikes and e-scooters as well. And then what is happening with the low income housing EV car share? That's the questions we had to find more information about so far. And I was gonna go to sequential and see if I can find out more information about, what's happening with getting R99 fuel. But if you all wanna do a little research on any of these topics, the Clean Oregon Fuels Program and the car share programs are the main two.
Plus you have a list of the numbers, right, for us?
Yeah, I have the numbers. We have number 2, number 3, number 6, 16, 18, and 20.
Okay.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the next stop, if you would just jot those into an email,
Mhm. Yep.
then I can just forward that on to Logan and we can get at least his take on that if he's had to get information or send us to somewhere else.
Absolutely. I can do that. Yep.
Very good. Okay, well, this was useful, and thank everybody for hanging in there and getting us here. Thanks, Brian.
Little progress, yeah, great.
Thanks for
Thank
hanging
you,
in there.
Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Kind of
Yes.
but we did it. All right. So I'll hopefully, what's your role here, Brian? We don't usually send you a message, but you show up. Should we be sending messages to you, or you don't want to hear from us?
Oh, I'd love to hear from you. I'm going to try and hunt down the specifics on MGO for you and send that. At least I know I've got Jan's contact, just so I can have, so you guys can have that definitively.
I think you guys are just kind of tag teaming the staff support for our various committees, right?
Yeah. We've got just a handful of us, a small pool, who are helping with some of the support as we work to hire folks into the sustainability positions.
So it's you and Bethany and Stacy, or
And Lacey.
and
Yeah.
Lacey, I meant her.
Yeah. The three of us are kind of working together right now just to patch it all through.
Very good.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you very much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Hey,
appreciate all you guys are doing. I love the conversation.
Thank you.
All right.
See you next time.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you.
Maybe next time we should just meet outside somewhere.
Yes, I agree.
Tired with this stuff here. Okay, ciao.
Bye.